I'm starting to think that I'm the problem. That's what a student told me after she'd been through 3 different programs: a live class for thousands of dollars, a private tutor, an online program, more than $10,000 spent, and her score was barely different from when she started. Now, she wasn't the problem. Instead, all 3 of those programs were making the exact same mistake. And it's the same mistake that almost every tutoring and online program makes. Let me show you what it is, because once you see it, you'll understand exactly why it didn't work and what to look for instead. If you've tried other tutors or programs and it didn't work, I want you to know something before we go any further. It wasn't your fault. I hear this story every week because I coach medical students and doctors for some of the hardest exams in the world. Different tutors, different price tags, but the same results and the same reasons. Sometimes it's a fancy brand name course. Sometimes it's a private tutor. Maybe they went to a famous school, or they were someone who scored really, really well on their own test and they said all the right things. They all sound like they know what they're doing, and frankly, they probably do. And then when it didn't work, you feel like maybe you're the one to blame. Like maybe you just didn't follow the process exactly enough, or you just didn't put in enough work. You start to think maybe there's something wrong with you. In the medical space, we see a lot of online programs that promise to have all the high yield information, right? All the things that you just need, everything that you need to know, all organized for you, and the accountability of being able to, force you to sit in a chair and like just learn it every single day. And then we see tons of people who go through the whole thing and then their score barely moves, or sometimes it even gets worse. Now, the details are different every single time and for every single exam, but when I actually look at what programs did, like how they actually tried to help, it's almost always the exact same things that go wrong. Now, I've been in the exact same position. When I was in medical school, I took a course from a really, really reputable guy. He actually wrote questions for the USMLEs, which are literally some of the hardest exams in the world. And I learned a ton. Like, it was genuinely excellent content. Like, this was a guy he was a professor at one of the top 5 medical schools in the entire country. He came to Stanford to give us lectures, and it was great. Like, he really knew what he was talking about. But then my scores didn't improve. What I realized was that it wasn't really a content problem. Those weren't the reasons I was getting questions wrong. Filling my head with more or better knowledge and just deeper concepts, even really, really good content from a brilliant guy, it didn't improve my ability to answer the questions that I was getting wrong. It didn't improve anything about my ability to take tests. And that was the problem. So let me walk you through the 3 mistakes that I see over and over again, because once you see them, you won't be able to unsee them. And you'll know exactly what to look for if you ever decide to try again. Have you ever gotten a question wrong and you read the explanation and thought, wait a minute, I knew that. Why didn't I get it right? That moment, the I knew that, is the single biggest clue that your problem probably isn't content, and therefore probably isn't going to be helped by all of those tutoring companies or different courses. Maybe you've even tutored other people, and those same people are now scoring better than you. Like, they've moved on with their lives and you're still stuck studying for the exact same exam, reading the exact same books over and over again. Or maybe you're working harder and longer than the people around you who, frankly, they probably aren't even as smart as you are, and yet they're doing better. That's not a knowledge problem. It's not even an intelligence problem. It is a problem of approach. But the approach is exactly what most programs ignore. Most programs and tutors are like a hammer, and everything is a nail. They'll tell you to do more volume, do more questions, watch more videos, read more chapters, read this thing. Oh, here's this great lesson. No, just, cover more material. And here's the thing, they all come by it honestly, because frankly, if you look at studies, the people who score the best are the ones who did the most questions, and they probably were the ones who read the most pages. Like, that's genuinely true. And at a certain point, I believed so strongly in this that I gave the exact same advice to the students that I was coaching, but then I realized that that actually wasn't true. And when I thought about it, I realized, oh yeah, that makes sense. It's kind of like if you were looking at what Steph Curry does the week before the NBA Finals. Now, he does a ton of crazy shots, like half-court shots and trick shots and shots from behind the backboard. Like, of course he is, right? He is at the top of his game, and so he's doing all of these really, really fancy things at a really, really high volume. But he and Steve Kerr have both said on the record, if you want to learn how to shoot, you need to start actually really close to the basket and get rid of all the fancy stuff. You have to first focus on getting your form correct. Because if you're just jacking up shots from half court and none of them are going in, you're not actually growing. And if anything, you're just reinforcing the wrong behaviors. In other words, it's a mistake to look at what the most successful people are doing in their last week or weeks of preparation and think, oh, that's how they got there. Because frankly, it's not. You would be missing all of the individual steps that they had to take before they got to the point where just doing huge amounts of volume was the solution to the problem. And while it's true that some programs are going to teach you like little tricks about how it is that maybe you read questions questions like read the last sentence first, or things like that. If you're a medical student, resident, fellow, or attending, and you're studying for your board exams and want to get a higher score in less time, be sure to check out our 14-step free program in the description, where we'll give you advice on how to make the most use of your time, especially if you're really busy. The vast majority of what most programs are teaching is what you need to learn. The problem instead is how, as in how you should be studying, how you should be creating a system to retain that information so that everything that you learn, you never forget. And learning how to read a question so that you can actually take a principle that you have learned and learn how to apply it and see the intent of the test writer. Now, let's be fair. For some people, flashcards do work. For some people, more content does work. I had a friend in medical school. He went to Johns Hopkins, one of the top programs in the entire world for neurosurgery. He was a fantastic test taker, which meant he actually had really, really good skills of test taking. Extremely sharp. He could sit in a lecture and just absorb it, like he didn't have to take any notes. And he used tons of flashcards to help him remember pharmacology details and other small details of drugs and things like that. But he also had a lot of the test taking skills already. His whole system wasn't just doing flashcards. He already knew how to read questions. He already knew how to think through problems. He already knew how to apply concepts and learn them at a fundamental level. The flashcards were just one small piece at the very last part of his preparation. However, if you don't already have those skills, like if the reason that you're getting questions wrong isn't because you're forgetting small facts, like, what the side effect of this drug is, or remembering that particular name, but actually because you don't know how to use those facts, then more flashcards are not going to fix it. If I don't know how to shoot a basketball, me just chucking more balls at the basket is not going to fix my problem. I was coaching a medical student who had been through a very, very famous program that had told her to make a bunch of flashcards from every single question that she got wrong. Plus, she was doing a popular pre-made deck called Anki, where there was tons of pre-made cards. So it was just a bunch of random facts with no structure and just all the things that you're supposed to know for medical school. The issue is that she had no ability to actually use any of it. And since the exams force you to apply concepts as opposed to just regurgitating random words onto a page, she really struggled. In her own words, she said her cards felt like slapstick and band-aids. Now, in fairness, the flashcards weren't the problem. The problem was that nobody taught her the skills underneath, right? The how as opposed to the what. And without the how, more content is just more stuff that you end up struggling to use on an exam because it's not solving the actual fundamental problem that you have. So if you read the answer explanation and think, wait a minute, I knew that. Your problem probably isn't a knowledge problem. It's a skill or likely set of skills that nobody has taught you yet. The second mistake that a lot of people make, including me when I started coaching, is that they can't actually prove that it's working. So have you ever studied for weeks or even months and then you didn't see your scores improve? Or even worse, maybe you even saw your score go down. There is a good reason for that, and once you understand it, you can get a much higher score in less time. The mistake that programs are making and the students that take these programs are making is that they're not creating a system where they can actually prove that what they're doing is working. So in addition to just focusing on the sheer amount of content, right, just telling you do more practice questions and read more pages and watch more lectures, right, which we already talked about, they're not actually verifying that their approach is working. For the exams that we help students with, there's specific practice tests called the NBMEs. And oftentimes programs will tell their students oh yeah, take a test every week or two and let's see that your score goes up, which on the surface seems pretty good. But they're not actually checking, okay, so for the specific things that you studied, did your score actually go up in those things? Now in medicine, we don't do that in really any other area. If something is extremely time sensitive and really important, like if you're in the ICU, you are gonna check it immediately. If someone comes in with a really serious medical condition called diabetic ketoacidosis, and you start giving them, an infusion of insulin, which can, fluctuate your glucose, very rapidly over a short period of time, you will be checking their blood sugar levels every hour. Not because you don't trust that it's going to work, but because if it's not working, you need to change the dose. You need to actually trust but verify, and if it's not working, you need to course correct. Because if you wait too long to check, you're going to lose time and it can start to get pretty dangerous. You wouldn't just turn on a really powerful medication then and walk away for 3 months and just say, I hope for the best. It worked for my last patient, so you'll be fine. That's crazy. But that's exactly what a lot of students do in a lot of the programs, because they're just told, okay, do this thing, and then they'll look at the result later and be like, oh, okay, well, I don't know, I guess it worked, or I don't know, maybe it didn't work. The most common advice that my students hear is, okay, just do 100 questions a day, trust the process, it's gonna take maybe a month or two, that's not a system. right? That's hope. The key to all effective learning is that you need immediate feedback. You need a closed loop, meaning you do something and then you check, did it work? And if it didn't, you need to tweak what it is you're doing until you can prove that it works in this particular situation. There was a student that I coached who she had been studying and she'd used other, commercial programs. And for 5 months, her first practice score went from a 222 to a 212. In other words, she went down by about 1 standard deviation. She had spent hundreds of hours and she ended up with a worse score than when she started. The program that she had no major checkpoints other than to just do, practice tests every few weeks. There wasn't really any other way to know if what they were doing was working until she took another full-length practice test. So by the end of the program, she'd wasted months doing more of the thing that wasn't working. So remember, a real system is going to give you measurable proof within ideally the first couple days that something is actually changing. And it can also use that same evidence of, oh, okay, well, this isn't working, to say, okay, you need to change something now because I know for a fact that you're not going to like where you're going to be in, a month or two. So that's two of the few mistakes for why a lot of programs struggle to help all of their students, is that they focus A, on what it is that you need to learn as opposed to how, and B, they have no way of proving on a day-to-day basis if your studying is actually moving your score in a meaningful way. Now, the third one is the sneakiest one because it actually looks like good coaching. That mistake is that they treat the symptom and not the cause. Have you ever been told you're weak at this subject? Like, you're weak at cardiology, and so yeah, you should just study more cardiology, and then you still end up like weak in that subject? Maybe it's not like immediate, right? So oftentimes people will see their score go up in that subject, but then, a week or 2 or 3 weeks pass, and then their score is back down to maybe where it was when it started. There's actually a really good reason for that. Now, you're weak in cardiology sounds like a diagnosis, but in reality, it's not. It's actually a symptom of a deeper cause. What do I mean? Let's talk about why are you weak in cardiology? In reality, it's one of 3 problems. You maybe didn't learn it the right way in the first place, or you may have learned it and you forgot it, or you may know it, but you can't apply it to questions. Those are 3 completely different problems with 3 completely different fixes. Like we discussed, the issue is that most tutors and programs treat them all the same way because that's what they're set up to do. They're set up to give you more content, more cardiology review, more practice questions. It's sort of like in medicine, there's a lot of reasons why you might come in with shortness of breath. The treatment for shortness of breath, maybe you've got heart failure, or maybe you've got a lung infection, or maybe you just have the subjective feeling of shortness of breath because you feel really anxious, or maybe you've got a heart attack, or maybe you have a clot in your lungs that's preventing you from, oxygenating properly. Whatever the reason, you have to actually know what the underlying cause is before you can treat it. You can't just say, oh, well, you've got shortness of breath, and so all of my patients with shortness of breath, I give the exact same treatment. One of the most common things that we hear from students is, oh, I get stuck between 2 answer choices and then I end up choosing the wrong one. Unfortunately, that's not a diagnosis. You actually have to know why they're getting stuck. Is it that they have a lot of bad experience with test taking, and so they've got a lot of trauma and sort of anxiety built up around tests? Is it that they have unrealistic expectations of how perfect the answer is going to be, and so they're constantly sort of shunning the correct answer? Is it that they're reading too quickly and they're missing key words? Or is it that they're not learning the concepts properly? There's a lot of potential reasons why you might get stuck between 2 answer choices, and so using the exact same approach for every single person with that particular problem is not going to yield the results that you hope. I was coaching a different student who she was missing tons of questions and she was getting stuck between 2 answer choices constantly. Now, in her case, she was constantly doubting herself. She started out kind of like below average and she frankly knew the medicine, but she couldn't get past a 240 no matter what it is that she was doing. What we found is that part of it was that she had a mindset and a belief problem. She expected to get things wrong. And so when she saw a question that looked hard, she'd already pretty much given up. Part of the issue too was that she had no systematic way of reading questions, and so every question was a little different about how it is that she approached it. It just kind of like varied based on her mood. Once she worked on those specific things, not content, not just do more questions, but the actual specific skills that she was missing, her score went from the 230s, which is like, below average, to the 260s, which on one of the hardest exams in the world is like the top 10%. And then ultimately to the 270s, which is like the top few percent. She wasn't doing more studying. She was finding the right diagnosis and using that to guide her studying to make a big difference in a short period of time. I coached a different student. She went to the Caribbean and she was what was known as a non-US IMG, which means she didn't have a green card or she didn't have US citizenship. And so it's hard in this situation because it's much more difficult to get residency because, the residency has to sponsor a visa or, it's tough. And so she had failed step 1, which is one of the hardest exams in the world, 4 times. Now, she had gotten the state medical board to get 1 extra attempt beyond the limit because there's actually only 4 attempts that you can have on this exam before they just say like, nope, that's it. By her 5th attempt, she had taken literally every single course. She'd worked with like every single tutoring company. She had done everything that she could think of, and yet she was still failing on this test. Now, the symptom looked the same as the first student. She was getting stuck between 2 answer choices and she was doubting herself. But the reason the diagnosis was completely different. Her problem was that she was focusing on memorizing content. She was extremely good at cramming little details more and more. But what she actually needed was to change the way that she was learning the material. She needed to understand why. She needed to see the principles and the concepts underneath all of those details, which is exactly what the test was testing her on. When she did that, she went from someone who had failed 4 times to scoring a 277 on her practice test. That is literally going from the bottom 0.1% to the top 0.1% on one of the hardest exams in the world. It was the same symptom as the first student, but it was a completely different cause, and as a consequence, it was a completely different fix. Now, that's the key. You cannot focus on just the symptoms. Remember, I'm weak in cardiology, or I'm bad at physics questions, or I don't like circuits, right? That's not a diagnosis, that's a symptom. And until you know the actual cause, there's no way for you to fix it. So those are the 3 most common mistakes for why a tutoring company or a course didn't work for a particular student. First, they teach you more content when content isn't actually the problem. Second, they have no way to prove that what they're doing is working on a day-to-day basis. And then third, they treat the symptom instead of diagnosing the underlying cause. If you've been through programs and it didn't work, and your score didn't move or not as much as you wanted it to, the problem was not you. The problem instead was your approach. You're not unteachable, you're not a bad test taker, you were just in a program that was giving you more content when what you needed was skills. Or it was a program that didn't give you the necessary feedback loop for you to be able to learn in the most efficient manner. Or maybe it was treating every student's symptoms as the same thing and just trying to use the same method for things that frankly had different causes. If you want to see a critical component of what the right approach actually looks like, what it looks like to actually fix some underlying skills as opposed to just, cramming more content, I have a video that walks you through one of these exact same systems that our students use. In it, I'll walk you through how I created a system to never forget the things that I'm learning and how I can review over 28,000 flashcards in under 30 minutes a day.